Hey guys, welcome back. It's April 22nd, so the leaves are starting to poke out. We're starting to get the buds, they're starting to emerge. And I realized I want to propagate and get more raspberries and blackberries. Trouble is, I don't feel like buying them. They're expensive, they're like 10 bucks a plant, that's too much. So I'm going to show you how to take your existing berry bushes and spread them out and get more. It's kind of a fast way of doing it. Now, you can propagate berries by seeds. They can just grow by runners, you can transplant them, but what I do is I like to try the taproot method. Now, this right here is a black raspberry, right? And what happens is the cane here, it'll grow long, and it grows so long that it falls back down to the dirt, and then this tip will actually grow roots. So what I'm going to do, now this tip wasn't quite long enough to grow roots on its own. As you can see, it's dead here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to snap it off here to get the live wood out. You can tell where it's live when it starts to get green, and there's some moisture, and that's where the leaves are. And that what we do, it's really quite simple. We just simply take some fresh dirt, put it in a container or potting mix and put it in a container, and just stick the tip all the way down, pack it just a little bit, and then just place it on the ground. And in about 2 to 3 weeks, you're going to see, after it gets some water and some sun, you're going to see root development. And then we just snip it about a foot off from where the tip is planted, and then you can transplant that as a whole new plant. And we're just going to go down the line. We're going to do black raspberries, blackberries, red raspberries, and I think I even have a few hidden yellow raspberries. So let's save some money, get some nice fruit in a few months. Hey guys, so I wanted to talk to you a little bit more about how to propagate your berry bushes. So right here we have one that's already tip rooted naturally. If the tip falls down onto sufficiently soft soil, it'll actually start to grow its own roots and a new plant. So we'll be able to snip it off here and then transplant it. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to clear the site a little bit to figure out where the roots are exactly. So I'll pull out these leaves. It's a little neglected, as you can tell. A little naturel. So it looks like it tip rooted primarily right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to dig a margin with the shovel. Now, what I'm going to do is try to dig at kind of a shallow angle but wide. I'm not going to dig deep, but I'm going to dig wide and try to scoop under the whole thing so it attaches right here. So I'm going to get this shovel here, and I'm going to attack it from maybe all around, because the shovel's only, maybe I'm going to go about 8 inches on each side of the shovel so I can get like a 16-inch clump, and then I can break the dirt away and then try to, if it doesn't fit in here, I'll get a bigger container. Just as a little heads up, before you transplant into a pot, I like to fill the pot about 2/3 of the way with soil, half to 2/3. So we'll see. This one might be a big one. I might need a bigger pot, but we'll find out first. I think we're going to need a bigger boat. Because you don't want to sever the root as best you can, but once you start to pry it up, you can then break away some of the excess soil. We'll have more soil here than we need, and so we just start to lift. And we're just going to gently try to take some of these longer tap roots a little bit if we can. We're going to try to preserve as many roots as we possibly can. And we're going to lift this whole thing up. And as I said, we're going to snip it. This one we're going to snip a little higher. We're going to cut this one right about here so it's beyond most of the leaves. You want to definitely cut beyond where the leaves start, so there'll be lots of room for good growth. Now, a couple of tricks here. First, what I'm doing is kind of traumatic to the plant because we're exposing all these roots. We're going to transplant this, but we're going to put it in a little bit of a shady area just to harden it, because you don't want to put something that was recently transplanted in direct sun. So I'm going to kind of tuck it a little bit off underneath some shrubbery just for a day or two till it gets used to it. Don't be surprised if the leaves wilt, and water it heavily when you transplant it as well. So this one here, I'm going to go out on a limb and say this is just a little bit too big to fit in this little pot. So I'm going to get a bigger pot over here. Always save your empty plant pots. They're disposable, but you can still use them a couple times. I'm going to break off the dead wood here so it fits in a little better. We'll try to fit this whole thing into the pot here. I'm just going to backfill it with some soil, and then I'm going to make sure to water it. As I said before, this whole process is kind of traumatic for the plant. Don't bury all the leaves, but make sure to bury the base of the plant and the roots. So you should have it kind of like this, where the leafy part is coming out, but the base is completely buried. I'm going to put 1 or 2 more scoops of dirt in, just so it's totally covered. Then I'm going to water it, and I'm going to put it in the shade. So we'll show you what we got here real quick. So I'm going to put it down here in just a little bit more of a shady spot for now, so it's not quite in direct sun. And I'm just going to give it a little shot of water. And we're just going to revisit that in probably, I would say, a couple days. We'll start to pull it out in the full sun, and then that'll be ready to transplant in probably about 2 weeks. We've got a good head start on the season.